Hello everyone! Welcome to my FlossTube channel. My name is Jessie Lee and I'm coming at you with video number 44. It has been a long time since I've talked with you. The last time I made a video was back in December, and now it's March, and I'm on my spring break from my final semester of college. This semester is all clinicals. I am going to real sleep centers to help real sleep techs with real patients, and it's intense. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate the experience. I feel like I'm learning so much and really getting prepared to have a real job, and I can tell that this is going to be a meaningful career that I'm going to be good at, but everything is just very overwhelming. Being new and having to interact with so many strangers while I'm in the process of learning and being inexperienced and awkward is super tough. It rubs against some of my greatest fears and weaknesses. And when I enrolled in college for the polysomnography program, I looked at the course schedule and saw that the fourth semester was clinical internships, and it seemed like a huge roadblock to me. But I signed up anyways, and now I'm doing it. And along the way, I have really felt God by my side the whole time. It's been very strange. I just keep being given these very glaring signs of encouragement. And every single time I've had a really, really stressful, hard experience, it's been immediately followed by a very easy one. And it keeps me going. And I never expected this semester to be such a spiritual journey, but it really has been. And it just fills my heart. So anyway, since my clinicals have been so challenging, whenever I'm home, I really dig into my cross stitches and escape. Cross stitch is truly the best stress buster, as I'm sure you know, and I'm pretty excited to show you the progress I've made on my whips. But first, I just want to sneak in and show you a couple little craft projects that I've made recently. And the first one I have to show is a Christmas ornament that I painted. These painted ornaments are sort of a tradition of mine. I've talked about it in a FlossTube video a long time ago, so I'm just gonna quickly re-explain. At my house, we don't have an artificial Christmas tree. We always go out and choose a real tree to decorate for Christmas. And my husband, Tim, always slices off a piece of the tree trunk for me to paint. And I always paint a little picture to represent a memory from that year. And then I label it also with the year and turn it into an ornament. And I've been making these since Tim's and my first anniversary, or the Christmas after our first anniversary, which was in 2011. So I've developed quite the little collection of memory ornaments. And I just recently got around to painting the ornament for 2022. I never paint these ornaments immediately at Christmas. I need to let the little tree stump slices sit out for a couple months to get nice and dry first. And the 2022 slice just sat out for an extra long time. It just kind of fell by the wayside, but I finally got back around to painting it. And here it is. I painted a little possum holding a candy cane, and he's hanging upside down alongside two stockings, and they are all hanging from a pretty holly garland. And there's 2022. And then here's the back. I just attached the hanging loop with a blob of hot glue and cover it up with a little star rhinestone. So yeah, it's my cute little painted memory ornament, and this slice is from the trunk of our Christmas tree that year. So I painted a possum because 2022 was the year my dream came true and I got to pet an opossum. Possums are one of my all-time favorite animals. And that probably wasn't the most important memory from that year. My niece was born in 2022. We adopted our kitten Nichols that year, and I also started college that year. But a possum was just the most fun to paint. So I created this cute little guy, and I'm very happy with him. And I will get the 2023 ornament done very, very soon as well. And then this other craft I have to show you is also a seasonal one. It is this wreath I made to hang on my front door for Valentine's Day. I found these twiggy hearts on the internet and was inspired to design an entire wreath just to incorporate them. I think they're so cute and very natural looking. And then I used these roses, which are made out of foam. I've never crafted with foam florals before, and I really enjoyed working with these. They look very crisp and substantial, and the colors are solid, so they really catch your eye, and these just read as roses from a distance. I really like them and will definitely be looking for foam florals to craft with in the future. I really enjoyed these. And I only went with Hello Sabrina. I just went with shades of pink and purple for this wreath and left out red because red is one of my less favorite colors. And also I wanted to have the Valentine's Day theme of this wreath be a bit subtle so I could keep it on my door through the springtime. And it's March now, and I still keep this hanging up there, and I still like looking at it. It's just a very cute wreath, although it is a very simple wreath. When I was making it, I did fart around for a long time, tying the perfect bow to go on this wreath. It was made out of lace. It was so pretty and perfect to enhance the Valentine's Day theme. But when I tacked it on here, it just didn't look right. I felt like it was too much and just took away from the flowers and especially these cute little hearts. So I ended up leaving the bow off, which was kind of ironic to me because all of my other wreaths that I've made also don't have bows, but it's because I sort of hate making wreaths. They're very fussy and tedious. I say I love having wreaths, but I hate making them. But I still fuss around with making them every so often just to freshen up my front door, but I always run out of steam before I get around to tying a pretty bow to put on them. So they just end up being naked. And this one I actually bothered to make a bow for, but I ended up not putting it on there. And I'm not entirely sure it's because it truly looks better without a bow, or if it's because I'm just used to seeing my wreaths with no bows. I don't know, but this one almost was dressed with a bow, but I don't know. I think it just prefers being naked. So this is my little Valentine's Day / spring wreath that I made, and it's just cute. And I learned a few things when I was making this. I'm definitely going to be looking for foam flowers for future crafting projects. Speaking of Valentine's Day, I am really disappointed to have missed my FlossTube anniversary, which is on February 14th. I had it all planned to make a video celebrating my 3rd FlossTube anniversary, but then I got really sick the week of Valentine's Day, so it just didn't happen. But I still want to honor that milestone because I have really loved my experience making videos and sharing my life and my projects with this community and getting to know so many of you who share my love of cross stitch. You all have been so kind and supportive of me, even as my video production has slowed down a lot these past couple of years, but I really appreciate all of you. And I just want to celebrate you, my wonderful subscribers, by doing a giveaway. I have Kitty, stop being so naughty. Sorry. I have 2 Mill Hill kits here, and I chose them because when I see them, they make me giggle. They are really adorable, and I hope whoever receives these just feels the joy that I do while you're stitching them. I have here a snail and a caterpillar. Aren't they so silly and adorable? They just make me laugh. And I hope one of you guys loves them too. I am keeping them together as one giveaway because they're clearly friends and should not be separated. So if you would like a chance to win these 2 Mill Hill kits, leave a comment down below with the word munch. because that's what caterpillars and snails do. They munch up your garden and are a total nuisance. But these guys are just little cuties, so we can forgive them. And of course, the rules for the giveaway are that you must be at least 18 years of age and comfortable emailing me your address so I can send these out to you. And don't post any words like giveaway or free or any of those things that will lure in the trolls and steal this giveaway from those of you who are my true friends here. You know how these work. So again, if you'd like a chance to win these 2 cute Middle Hill kits, just leave me a comment with the word munch, and I will make another video soon to announce the winner. So again, thank you guys for being my subscribers and my friends and sticking with me for 3 years of FlossTube. And I really hope once I graduate college and have a job and get into a new routine as a working woman, I will be having more time and energy to invest in FlossTube again. I love making these videos. I love cross stitch, and I love all of you. All right then, my whips. Let me show you them. Like I said, I've been stitching up a storm lately, but it's only been on 2 projects, so I hope that's not too boring for you. But anyway, the first I'm going to show is my Quaker Piece Sampler by Remembering Bygone Stitches. Here is the design, and excuse me, here is mine. I've made quite a bit of progress on this since I last showed it to you. We left off with me in the middle of stitching this motif right here. So I finished that one up and then moved on to stitch this guy, this guy, this guy, and then this big mama right here. She was really intimidating to start stitching because she is the biggest motif in the sampler, I believe, and she's mostly stitched in this pastel rainbow variegated floss. Now, I like to sort of plan my approach to stitching each of these motifs in an attempt for the layout of the colors to turn out as nice as possible. So I spent a lot of time thinking before I started in on her, but she turned out really nice. And then I went back and put in all the little sprinkles that show between these guys. And then I came over here and stitched this guy, and this guy, and all of their little sprinkles. So yeah, I think I got more stitching done on this one in the past 3 months than I have in the past 3 years since I started this. When I began this Quaker Piece Sampler, I didn't have a plan for what I wanted to do with the finished product, so it was just never a high priority to stitch. But ever since I painted my living room pink, I've been dying to hang this on the wall because it will go just beautifully in that room. So now I'm picking up speed stitching this. This whip is also my best tactile experience of stitching. The thread just goes through this fabric like butter. This is 36 count Fabric Flare Even Weave in the color Historic Beige. I'm stitching it 1/2, and the threads I'm using are from Threadworks. They are the colors 1078 for the pastel one, and then 1064 for the variegated green. Now, it's kind of subtle, but this green is in here breaking up the motifs because eventually it will form a peace sign that goes over the entire sampler. You can kind of see here, it's subtle, there is the top arc of a circle forming and then a line going down the center. So that's why this is designed to have 2 colors and it's not just a monochrome stitch like so many Quaker style samplers out there. So yeah, this is my Quaker piece, and I really love stitching this, and I'm really happy with the progress I've made. It looks a lot different from the last time I've shown it to you. So I'm so proud. The other project I've been stitching on is a new start. Of course, it is my temperature cross stitch for 2024, which is Temperature Fish. This is a design that I came up with myself, and in my last FlossTube video, I showed you guys the pattern that I created. So now I'm so excited to show you how these fishies are stitching up, but first let me show you the color scheme that I chose for them. Here are my threads. It goes from red to orange to yellow, and red will be for the coldest temperatures of the year, and then yellow will be for the hottest temperatures of the year. Last year, for my temperature rain clouds, my color scheme was all cool colors. It went from purple to blue to green. I did not intentionally choose the opposite of that. It just turned out that way because I decided that I wanted my fish to sort of be koi-like. So I went for some goldfishy looking colors, and that was these. And then when it came time to choose the fabric, I went for the perfect pond scum green. You don't really see koi swimming in clear blue Caribbean looking waters. They swim in green ponds. So I got this fabric, which is actually quite beautiful. It is 36 count Edinburgh linen in jalapeno by Fiber on a Whim. And you put these together and it looks so bright and citrusy. It's going to be so cheerful and energizing to stitch on this throughout the year. I'm really excited. I am stitching these fish 1/1. It's super tiny because I need this big pattern to fit in a hoop when I'm finished with it. I want all of my temperature stitches to sort of conform to the style of being fully finished in hoops. So here is how they are looking so far. They're very, very cute. I got in the basic outlines for all 12 fish. And then month by month, I stitch in the scales, and each scale on the fish represents the temperature of the day. So this was my January fish, my February fish, and the beginning of my March fish. You can see I'm getting to stitch some more of those yellow-orange shades already. We're having unseasonably warm weather this year because of El Nino, but we did get some very, very cold temperatures in January, so I did get to stitch this dark red, which is, it represents the coldest temperatures. That's the very end of my color gradient, and I'm just relieved to have gotten to stitch it because I'm held in suspense every year as to whether I'll get to stitch every single color I've chosen. So it did get cold enough to stitch the dark red, so now I have to hope it's going to get hot enough to stitch the light yellow at the other end of my temperature scale. But my fishies are turning out great so far. And when I'm done stitching all of the scales at the end of the month, then I go back and figure out which color I use the most, and I stitch the head of the fish in that color. So I guess from a mathematical standpoint, that's the mode temperature color. So that's what I thought was the most aesthetically pleasing and also represents sort of the overall feel of what the temperature was throughout the month. So that's how my temperature fish look. Oh, another little thing that I did when I was stitching these that I think of now as kind of a mistake is I stitch the month's colors head to tail. I just went in and started stitching the first fish starting at its neck without even thinking about it because it's just sort of natural the way scales lay on a fish. They go from head to tail. And then I realized the color gradient throughout the year would have looked best if I just went straight across the rows this way, which means some of the fish would be stitched tail to head. But I figured that out after it was too late. So now each fish is just going to get stitched up head to tail. So the color gradient won't be entirely clean and accurate, but that's okay. I'll probably stitch this over again another year. Maybe then I'll make the decision to stitch some of the fish, the other way. This is somewhat of a tedious stitch because I am stitching it 1/1 on 36 count, but it's turning out nice. The little stitches look so very dainty, and there are a lot of stitches in all of the fish's fins, and their heads are a big block of stitches. So this temperature piece is quite a time investment when other ones I've done in the past have been a little quicker. It's just something you visit like a little bit every day. This one requires some real sit down time. It's not my favorite temperature stitch I've done, despite it being something that I designed myself. Maybe I should have put a little more thought into what the actual experience of stitching it would be, but these little fishies are really adorable, and I'm happy with how my design is turning out, so it's okay. Towards the end of the year, once I'm close to having this completed and I know I'm completely happy with how it turns out. I will probably share the pattern with you guys for free, like I did with my temperature rain clouds. And speaking of my temperature rain clouds, here they are fully finished. They are all done, and I put them into this hoop. It's a wooden one, and I painted it pink. And then this is the fabric that I used to finish off the back. I actually had this in my fabric stash because I had made masks out of it during the pandemic. So I had some left over, and I got to use it for a more cheerful purpose this time. So here they are. They turned out really cute. You can see in bubbly letters I put in where I live and the year. And then to show my color scale down here, I made a thermometer. And then I stitched in the dates and temperatures of the hottest and coldest days of the year. So on September 4th, it was 95 degrees. It's weird that we had the hottest day of the year in September. And then February 3rd, it was only 1 degree. And that's in Fahrenheit because I live in the United States. So I'm really happy with how my temperature rain clouds turned out. This is the first cross-stitch design that I ever came up with myself. And it was really fun to stitch. And I think the colors turned out really pretty. And you guys were really supportive along the way all year long of me stitching these up. So this was a fun experiment to do a temperature project of my own design, and I'm really happy with it. And I really love the light pink fabric in the pink hoop. I think it was kind of hard to tell as I was stitching it that this was actually pink fabric because it's so light. It's blush Lugana, 32 count. But now that it's in a pink hoop, I think you can kind of tell a little better that it's pink, although it's still pretty washed out on camera compared to how it looks in real life. And then I really love how my color gradient turned out. Although a lot of these raindrops are green. I didn't get to stitch so much blue. This is like the one little section of true blue drops, but that's okay. Anyway, I am yammering on about this FFO, but that was my temperature rain clouds that I worked on all year last year. And now they are all done. And they get to hang on the wall right back there with all my other temperature stitches. And when I'm done with my temperature fish, all of these guys are going to go out and start being displayed in my stairwell instead. And I'm going to fill this area in with some other more nostalgic cross-stitch projects that I have planned. I also have some really lovely haul to show you, but it needs a bit of an explanation. I've had this pattern in my stash for a while. It's High Hopes by Just Nan. It looks like this. And it comes with a little bird bath charm to stitch on there. And I bought this a couple years ago because this tortoiseshell kitty reminded me of my kitty Calypso. So I've been hanging on to this to one day stitch as a memorial piece for her because she was a senior kitty. And this past November, Calypso passed away. She was 17 years old. And Tim and I adopted her when we first moved out of our parents' house and into an apartment together all the way back in 2008. So Calypso was with us through everything. And it's kind of hard to live without her, and I miss her. So it was time to kit this up, and that's what I did. I chose this fabric for it. A really nice warm creamy white that's sort of sunny looking. This is 28 count ivory Lugana. And to make this piece extra special, I bought silk floss. This pattern has 30 colors and I converted it all to silk. It's Victoria Clayton. She has a direct conversion to DMC and her silks are a bit less expensive than other silks out there, but all 30 of these was quite expensive. However, I had saved up enough leaving money to pay for it. That's a joke I've talked about in the past. Every so often I squirrel away a little bit of cash that I just have my own special hiding spot for, and I do it just because for myself. And Tim and I joke about it and call it my leaving money. So I used my little stash to pay for painting my living room pink, and then since then I've saved up enough to get all of this beautiful silk. And the colors look so rich and beautiful and glossy. I've never stitched with silk before, so I'm really excited to try it out. And this super specialness is exactly what Calypso deserves. And I'm sad to begin this project, but I feel good in my heart to begin it too. So that is my haul that came about because of the passing of my kitty Calypso. She was a gorgeous cat and she was very special. Well, that is all I have to share with you in this video today. I'm sorry for leaving on sort of a sad note, but I promise to come back in just a couple weeks to announce the winner of the giveaway. So again, if you want a chance to win those 2 Mill Hill kits, just leave me a comment with the word munch. And before I go, I've got to share with you the motto of my grandma, who inspired me both in stitching and in life. God loves you, and I love you. Until next time, happy stitching. Bye-bye.